Very good evening, friends. Meeting again in the session of Robert's philosophy, and we are discussing regarding the very important chapter, that is a hypothesis explained by Robert, Psora or deficiency. This chapter one has to understand because it gives a different insight looking towards the miasm. As Hahnemann have explained the concept of Psora, and which was not digestible to the persons of medical field, his colleagues, at the same time to the modern people, because the concepts were written and explained in old language. Robert has tried to correlate this with the modern terminology. Then he has studied the whole periodic table. Then he has studied the list of antisoric remedies as explained by Bonninghausen. Out of 50 remedies, he has taken out the 16 from vegetable kingdom, 1 from animal kingdom, remaining 33. The three were having higher molecular weight, that is the barium, the platina, and uh, aurum metallicum. And these three higher atomic weight elements never takes part in the construction of human being, but they used to produce the destruction in the human body. So they are not antisuric, they are antisyphilitic remedy. And then whatever the 30 remaining that he compared with the list of constructive elements of the human body taken from the different physiology biochemistry books. And he found that atomic weight less than 53 comes in this pair, and all those elements are the salts or minerals which remains to be there in upper superficial part of the earth, and which are all taken part in the construction of the human body. Then he started studying those elements. They require in a very minute quantity in the human body. But even though it is so minute, if it is absent, if it is missing, then definitely it used to produce deficiency syndrome. And then he compared that deficiency syndrome with the psoric manifestations, and he found they are one and the same. In order to explain his postulate, he has given certain examples. First example which he has explained is related with the manganum, which causes manganese, which causes a deficiency specifically in the deficiency of maternal love in case of females and sterility in case of males. And if you compare the proving of manganum in homeopathy, he has given the example of Clark's dictionary, and where it has been mentioned in the proving symptoms, sterility, sensation of weakness in male genital system. That is one important feature he found over there. So, in order to explain his hypothesis, he tries to correlate these two things, and he was giving many examples. We were there on page number 200, the first paragraph itself. The speaking of necessity for the carbohydrates in the diet, McCollum, that is Food, Nutrition and Health book, he says, during digestion absorption through the intestinal walls, all of these forms of carbohydrates are converted into glucose. Glucose is one sugar which always occurs in the blood, although it is present in the blood only in the extent of 1 part per thousand of the blood. This sugar is the principal fuel which is burned by the muscles for the providing energy, for keeping the body warm, and for muscular work. So this is collected from the book of McCollum, and then he explains carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are the usual form in which carbon, the element, is found in the system and in which it is ingested. This is physiological. This is the physiological sphere. Let us turn to the role of carbons occupy in the list of antisoric remedy. See his study. Now he has studied which are the carbons which comes in antisoric list. He explains over there in Bonninghausen's list, we find ammonium carb, the baryta carb, the calcarea carb, the carboanimelis, the carbovage, the graphites, the kali carb, magnesium carb, natrium carb, and sepia. The question arises in everyone's mind, how can sepia? Answer is given over there. All these have characteristic of carbon influence, even though associated with another element. It may seem strange to the casual student of Mathematics to include sepia in this list, but to the homeopathician, sepia is animal carbon. And right over there, this is MCQ in the PG exams or even in the your exams, which is remedy is called to be animal king carbon. It is sepia is called to be animal carbon. So these are the remedies which are carbon group remedies, and let us see how it belongs to the symptomatology. What he says further, in spite of our belief that barium belongs preeminently to the antisyphilitic group, Barataka bears the family relationship of carbons which admits it to the antisoric or deficiency group as well. Carboanimalis and carbo-VIH manifest most markedly the characteristic homeopathic indications for their use. Burnt out defines the condition in one word. Carboanimalis, carbo-VIH, you get the burnt out sensation. Burnt out is nothing but the carbon is burnt out in order to produce the energy. So it is a fuel, carbon is a fuel, and fuel is used in order to produce energy. It is burnt out and energy is produced. In carboanimal is carbohydrate, you get this typical feature. Burnt out defines the condition in one word. This burnt out energy and its end results of lack of body heat, muscular strength extends even into the mental sphere, and whether it comes from excess, loss of animal fluids, from emotional, mental, or physical stress, it is the red thread that runs all through the proven symptoms of carbon animals, carbon remedies, or carbon combination. So, this typical sensation, that is the lack of body heat, you can get in carboanimalis, you can get in carbon wage, you can get in carbon, all carbon remedies. Second thing he explains over there, loss of muscular strength extends even to the mental sphere also. Emotional, mental, and physical stress. It is the red thread runs all through the proven remedy. Carbon remedies, they are easily exhausted. Calcarea calf, we'll take example. They walks for certain distance and they say, Doctor, I am exhausted. This is the feeling, exhausted is the feeling, that is burnt out energy and they lacks the energy, is the characteristic of carbon group. So carbon, whenever it is, sugar is not taken by your body, you feel exhausted. The same feature happens to be there in the remedies which comes from this specific antisoric group. So you'll have these two important things. So this symptomatic thread runs all through the various spheres of action of each individual remedy of carbon family, mental, moral, and all the varying physical fields in which it is applicable. And in as much as it is found in physiological form throughout the system, we find its symptomatology running through every part. So this feature, loss of muscular strength, loss of strength at the mental level, at the physical level, at the emotional level, which is reflected in carbon remedies, is reflected in the deficiency of sugar also. So he has correlated the loss of sugar in your body, the symptomatology which is produced, the deficiency which it has produced, the similar types of features you can get over there in those remedies, carbon remedy. So in order to confirm his hypothesis, he is trying here the same thing. Then he further explains, calcium is an essential of the bony structure and is necessary, small but constant, essential of the blood. The homeopathic mater medica indicates calcarea group in scrofulous conditions, rickety children, large head with open fontanelles, and host of symptoms we have already described in those conditions traceable to Psora. McCollum tells us that calcium in the food is not enough. Human infants often develop rickets when receiving the sufficiency of calcium and phosphorus, provided they are deprived of sunlight and vitamin D. This last comment, provided they are deprived of sunlight, leads us to meditate upon the comment of Hahnemann in relation to Psora, to the effect that unnatural and unhappy surroundings are extremely dangerous to the vital energy. So, how he correlates each and every feature. In calcium deficiency, it has been known for us that if calcium deficiency is there, it used to produce the rickets. It used to produce a bony curvature. And if we go through the calcarea foss, calcarea carb, the calcarea remedy, you'll get this common feature, open fontanelles. Then they have rickety children, large head with open fontanelles. So bony structures, bony pathologies, which you used to get over there, in the similar manner, the deficiency also produce the same thing. So in order to explain his postulate, he is taking into consideration one by one. Then he has explained that human infants often develop rickets when receiving a sufficiency of calcium and phosphorus, provided they are deprived of sunlight and vitamin D. Sunlight is necessary, vitamin D is necessary, then only you will get a good bone strength. If it is missing, it used to produce the problem. And same words in the Psora used by Hahnemann in a different manner. Effects that unnatural and unhappy surroundings are extremely dangerous to the vital energy. The same thing, only in a different language. So to correlate these things is nothing but you are explaining it in modern terminologies. The language of Hahnemann in modern terminology. It is not necessary to compare the symptomatology of many of our remedies with the body element to bear out our contention that the problem of Psora and deficiency are closely related. Any thoughtful student may verify further comparisons in homeopathic remedy. So now he has left this postulate on you. You work on it, find it out, the correlations between the deficiencies, and the provings of the homeopathic remedy. This is just an introduction which he has explained in this specific chapter to stimulate your mind. Then he further says, in these days, one rarely has the opportunity to see a patient released from emotional or economic stress into simple and natural surroundings. With much outdoor life and simple and natural food supply, free from adulteration and replete with the stored elements direct from nature's lavish supply. However, if such a case is observed, one learns many things about resilience of human economy under the proper conditions. It leads one to different outlook to our upon Sora and its relation to undue stress of the modern life and economic condition. We have stated repeatedly that emotional strain was an important factor in developing Soric condition. The inability to relax for unnatural and important functions demanded by nature. Hustle and bustle take away our rhythmic, full, deep breathing. The hurry for trains and time clocks interferes too often with the excretory functions. The demands of society lead us to the suppressed natural perspiration. Anxiety over almost every atom of our lives gets in its dangerous work and often deprives us of necessity of the rest, certainly chance of moments of relaxation. So this is what is happening in everyone's life. The modern life is completely changed. We are not gaining what we used to gain. You see the people just 2 decades back, 2, 3 decades back, those people who used to remain, they were more healthy than us because they were getting the lavish diet which was full of healthy nutritional content. And what we are getting is adulterated food. And because of which we develop many symptomatologies. Milk is adulterated, the food which is adulterated, and because of which we don't have that strength which those people used to have. They used to live for longer time. The average age of human being was 125. Now it has reduced to half. 60, 65 is considered to be a life of the human being. Why? Because we are deprived, we are having all those deficiency and we are not getting the rest, the peace which we used to get earlier. Now it is modern age where the competitiveness, the hastiness, the hurriedness, the running, all those things, running behind many things. This is happening. This is what the Sora is there. Sora is going in competition, want to achieve something. He has become more ambitious. And because of which we are having same features because of the deficiency what we used to get. It is the manifestation of Sora. And then to conclude what he says, all these circumstances pressing upon delicate adjustment of spirit, mind, bone, body, especially if these be predisposed by inheritance of to maladjustment, cannot but make confusion worse compounded. And at this point, if we pass on to our unborn children, our inhibitions or separations of the spirit, mind, and flesh, what can we expect but to build for them a future lacking of ability to receive from natural sources those elements, not always measurable, nor as yet defined, that are essential to health? And when we ponder that wrong living conditions, appalling plagues, and seasons of famine have been cyclic since history began, we cannot wonder at an inherited tendency to disease that Hahnemann called sorry. So see what he is explaining, that what we are gaining. Every next generation is suffering from certain disorders. And history repeats what he says. History repeats, there were a lot of epidemic disorders earlier used to happen. In between period, they were less. And since last 10 years, see how epidemics have again raised. The swine flu epidemic was there, chikungunya epidemic was there, just latest was COVID epidemic was there. And why this is happening? This is happening because Sora is again coming out, but now it is not purely Sora. Earlier it was Sora expressing through the skin. Now it is sorosyphilitic myelum which is coming out, called to be a tubercular myelum. So we are getting sorosyphilitic manifestations at present in the people. So we have to look toward the miasm, the latest miasm, what is presenting at present and what is happening at present, all those things which we have to look for. And to conclude this chapter, he explains whether this tendency to soric manifestation develops because of inability to assimilate or inability to relax to the point of assimilation. The end results are the same and will continue to be until corrected through more healthy and natural ways of living, plus power of potentized remedy to release separations and tune the maladjustments to the order. So to conclude chapter, he explains it might be because of deficiency, it might be because of assimilation, whatever it may be, but it has similar type of manifestations as we used to get with the soric manifestation. And if we want to bring it again to the state of health and to bring it again into the complete new healthy condition of the human being, what we provide, you have to provide. We have to provide the same thing, the proper diet, the proper exercises, along with an antisoric remedy, so that you can cure those patients completely. So this is a big postulate which he has, a hypothesis which he has explained over there. It is his own study. He has tried to show its correlation, but it is not complete relationship which he has shown. He has given an introduction. He has stimulated your mind to go further and to show to the world what Sora is according to homeopathy from Hahnemann point of view and from modern point of view. So third chapter related with Sora Mayasm, which we have finished today. And one more chapter is there with Sora, the some manifestations of latent Sora, very important chapter, because how can we recognize the Sora if it is in latent state? Those manifestations were mentioned by H.A.Robert over there in that chapter. And from exam point of view, again, that chapter is very, very important. So that's all for today. We have learned a very important thing, and we'll meet directly tomorrow with the next part of the chapter. So thank you being there. No Mater Medica session will be there today. Thank you.
So
And
thank you very much, sir.
yes.
Thank you, sir. Have a good evening.
Thank you.